On the night of January 6th, 1982, a passenger on a commercial jet was looking out the window as the plane flew over the Colorado mountains when he spotted headlights blinking SOS. The passenger brought this to the attention of the pilots, who radioed the location of the blinking light to police on the ground. A massive rescue operation was launched, and rescuers found Alan Lee Phillips stranded in a snowdrift. It was in the middle of a severe snowstorm, and the temperature had dropped down to negative 22 degrees. If it wasn't for the random passenger on the plane who happened to look out the window and see this, and even recognize it, that it was SOS, there's no way that Alan would have survived the night. For 40 years, Alan's story has been hailed as miraculous. But almost 4 decades later, it became apparent that Phillips wasn't an innocent motorist trying to make his way home in bad weather. In fact, hours earlier, he'd killed 2 young women who were hitchhiking nearby. On that day, Bobbi Jo Oberholtzer and Annette Schnee vanished without a trace. On January 7th, 1982, a woman's body was found 5 miles south of Breckenridge, Colorado. She'd been shot twice. The only 2 clues at the scene were a set of house keys and 1 orange sock. The keys belonged to the dead woman, but the orange sock did not. 6 months later, and 13 miles away, another woman's body was found. She had also been shot to death. Police were stunned when they discovered she was wearing the match for the orange sock. The murdered women were both locals, 29-year-old Barbara Oberholtzer and 21-year-old Annette Schnee. They both disappeared on the same day, and both had been shot with a medium caliber revolver. The Park County Sheriff's Office said that Alan Lee Phillips was arrested in February of 2021 after DNA testing linked him to the kidnapping and murder of Annette Schnee and Bobbi Jo Oberholtzer. He was convicted by a Park County jury in September of 2022 of first-degree murder and kidnapping and sentenced to life in prison, but he would only spend 6 months in prison because in March of 2023, he died at 72 years old. So from 1982 all the way up until 2022, this guy had been living with having gotten away from that, with that crime. And he had just murdered 2 women. So everyone thought it was this amazing thing. He's signaling for help. Oh, what good fortune. Somebody in a plane happens to see him and they send the police and they help him. It's just a feel-good story. And in reality, that dude was a cold-blooded murderer who hours earlier had murdered 2 women and then got stuck in a snowdrift trying to get away with the crime. He's just frantically signaling for help, and then he gets rescued. But inevitably, things catch up. And so 40 years later, that dude ends up going to prison.
Jeez. Yeah. You know, I'm kind of glad. I feel like today's show's theme was pretty heavy. You know, we had our moments where we're laughing and stuff like that, but I'm glad when you said one more story and you didn't say that we're going to end it on a happy note. Yeah. because this is a pretty twisted story that goes dark really fast. So yeah. But it is crazy that justice does get served. Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like there is that. Yeah, because that dude could have froze to death that night.
Yeah.
He got his 40 years, but you know what? They caught him eventually, and that dude's name will always be known as that, and anything good gets forgotten about. He gets locked up, and 6 months later, he's dead. And, you know, so probably, arguably, he should have just frozen to death that night and not been saved. But, you know, it's a pretty miraculous save from him in the first place, because I can tell you, first of all, I would not know how to flash my high beams to signal SOS. So start with that.
Yep.
Second of all, if that happened, there's no chance that I'd be like, wait a minute, there's an airplane flying up there. Let me flash my lights and hope that someone's going to see that, recognize it, and then send police for me. Like, there's a 0% chance. If anything, I'd see an airplane and be like, daggone it, there's my chance. I wish there was some way I could signal them, but I don't have a flare or anything. SOS. Might need to learn how to do that.
And just someone randomly looks out.
Yeah.
Just flying low enough that you would be able to recognize that and then understand. someone could flash SOS at me and I would have no clue what it is. Like,
not at all.
Yeah, I'd given them the bird because they were giving me the high beams, you know?
Yeah.
You jerk. Really
Go
just signaling
around.
for help. Yeah. Just go around. Oh, dang. Well, that's an awful story.
Yeah. Yeah. But he got caught. He didn't get away with it. Probably thought he got away with it for a long, long time, though. Good Lord, man.
Jeez.
But it is interesting. It's kind of the same with like the Golden State Killer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, these people that it's like nowadays DNA and everything else and these ancestry tests, which we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah.
But man, more often than not, they'll find a way to get you. It may take a long time, but more and more and more, you know, they'll find you. They'll get you.
Yeah, absolutely.